ladies and gentlemen, Kristine Levine.
The story I'm going to tell you, I like to tell people when they tell me that everything happens for a reason. We're going to revisit that later. Okay? I worked at a porn store off and on for like 14 years. Just looking at the faces. I feel like I know some of you. Do I look familiar to any of you? Yeah? Tired Fantasy? Sometimes down at Burnside? Well, about 8 years ago, we had a customer come in. It was December 22nd. Nope, 7 years ago, because 8 years ago. Okay, I'm just like, statute of limitations. Okay, good. 7 years ago. Eric, I'm your only storyteller that needed an attorney to tell this story. So what happened was I was drinking on the job. I'm never going to get through this. Well, it was Christmas. And you just... I work graveyard, you get bored. So I got all liquored up. It's a little after midnight, and a guy came in, and he was wearing a blue checkered shirt and denim pants, and he bought what I call the gay Happy Meal, the homo Happy Meal. Yeah, the homo Happy Box. He got a pill of lube, like amyl nitrate, like Rush, to huff, and a condom. And then a little while later, my coworker Josh said, "Hey, the guy in booth 26, in the Jack Shack back there." I don't have to explain to a Portland audience what a Jack Shack is, do I? I don't think so. You guys got it? Right? Yeah, you're savvy. Man, when I'm in Arkansas, herp dirt, what's that? Uh-oh. But you guys got it, the meat lockers, right? You watch the porn in at the porn store. So my coworker Josh says there's something wrong. The guy, the light goes off, and that's how I know that you've either passed out, fallen asleep, whatever, or you're just not paying for the room. So that's when I have to go in and politely knock and be like, "Hey, need you to put some money in there." And I said, "No problem, I got this." I am shithoused. And I go back to the in the arcade. We'll call it an arcade. It's not stupid. You do play a little bit of cat and mouse games back there, but that's beside the point. So I go back there and I have the keys, and behind me is one of our cruisers, a regular cruiser. I call him Senor Nothing because every time I ask him, "What the fuck are you doing?" he goes, "Nothing." He sashays away. Okay, so Senor Nothing is right behind me, and he goes, "I think he's sleeping." And I go, "Yeah, whatever, right? I'm drunk." And I knock or whatever. "Hi, whatever," no response. I open the door, and I just see this man's shoulder. I had just seen him like 15 minutes before, and he was fine. Yeah. And man, he was not fine. He had died. He was dead. Yeah. Like pants down around his ankles. Kind of his hand was a little bit on his penis, like he was still trying. And I was like, okay, now listen, let me explain this to you. There's two parts of me. There's a human part of me that recognized the loss of a human life. And then there's this porn clerk part of me that was like, man, I just got all the street cred. I'm going to be queen of the porn clerks. Wah! You know what I mean? Like I'm a hero to all my other coworkers. Found a dead guy, got one, fish on. I did it. I'm not completely completely like, oh, there's somebody died. Oh, and then, yeah! So I shut the door. I locked it. I turn around. Senor Nothing is right there. He's wearing a mesh black T-shirt, so tight, and leather black hot pants. Maybe go-go boots. Just, you know what I'm talking about. He's fantastic. And he says, is he sleeping? I'd be so quiet, okay? And I said, yeah, we're going to let him sleep it off for a while. And then I walk up to the counter, and I grab the phone, and my coworker Josh says, how's the guy in booth 26? And I said, well, he's fucking great. He's dead. Like, he's better than we are. He's not in this shithole anymore. He's fucking great. I used to think that when you die at a porn store, like the ground would just open up and suck you down to hell like a bank tube. You know? Right? Like a guy in booth 26 and just whoop, gone. Well, so I assume now my next point, what I do next, is to call 911. They don't really teach you this in porn clerk school, but they should. I call 911, and this call is so fantastic in the history of 911 calls. I want to get a copy of it. You've heard nothing like it in the world. The 911 dispatcher or whatever, she says, 911 emergency, what do you need emergency, some fire, medical, please, huh? Rattles her shit off, right? Her little spiel. And I say, oh gosh, I don't know. Not really. It's like all my choices. I only have 3. I don't know. So I go, well, I don't really have a police or a fire, but not really a medical. I don't think so. And she's like, well, what do you need? And I go, well, I don't know. This is Kristine Levine from Fantasy on Coronado Drive out in Portland/Tigard. And I have a dead guy in one of the booths. Can you come get it? Right? Like it's a sack of garbage somebody left on my doorstep, and someone clean that up for me? It's in my way. And she says, well, what? How do you even know he's dead? What kind of dispatcher is this? I think I'm in a cartoon. Are you shitting me? I said, well, I think she's being funny. So, of course, I'm a comedian. And I'm like, I'm funny. I can play this game. I said, oh, I know he's dead because I tickled him and he didn't laugh. I think it's a game. And then I realized, no, she fucking hates me. She's mad at me because I'm not being tender about this. And I just told her what to do, and I told her this guy was dead, and she goes, no. What I mean is, you are not a physician, are you? Are you a doctor? How are you even qualified to tell if somebody's even died or not? You don't know. And I said, I just told you I work at a porn store. Why would a fucking doctor work at a porn store? Right, dummy? She's an idiot. Fucking dumb. So Miss Attitude Dispatcher, she goes, fine, why don't I send somebody out? And I was like, right? I didn't do that shit, lady. Okay. Then it occurs to me, like I kind of talked with my coworker Josh. Now the first responders are on their way out. They're not in any kind of hurry, probably. And it occurs to me that I don't know this guy. Like, I've never seen him before. I don't know his name. And I don't know, like that part of me that I told you about that's still human and gets it, like he's dead. And I just wanted to know what his name was. I thought the coroner's not going to tell me. The police are never going to tell me. But I still want to know. So I had Josh stand guard and make sure Senor Nothing was not around. And I went back to the room, and I opened it up. and I reached inside Andrew's pants, and I grabbed his wallet, and I looked inside, and his name was Andrew. And he was 52 years old, and I even knew where he lived, and that he had $35 in his wallet. Okay, settle down. It's not grave robbing. He wasn't in the dirt. It was okay. He's still above ground. He didn't bat my hand away. He didn't. It's the worst. I know. Okay. But look, let me explain something to you. When you die at the porn store, here's what you're not going to get, okay? Well, okay, first of all, you're not going to get help. No one's going to give you CPR. You're fucked. It's not going to happen. He was dead for maybe 10 minutes. Like, I might have been able to save him. I still don't know. Like, I could have. But, I don't know. And the $35, like, if you die at the porn store, that's a finder's fee. That's what I get for seeing your dead dick. That's my job. Thank you. I thanked him for his noble sacrifice. Petted his head. Thanks, Andrew. Peace out. And it's not like his wife was going to be back, like at any time going, my husband Andrew died here yesterday, and I would really like to know where the fuck that $35 is. Okay? It's money. It's not anything. And plus, you know what? Like, if I had not taken something from him, all my other coworkers would have made fun of me for it. There's this... That's the truth. That's the honest truth. That's really, like, the truth is that porn clerks, like, kind of people die in porn stores, and it happens. And every time something like that happens, we got to lift something from you. Like, as a token, like, to go, got it! Like, we scalped you or something. Like, it's just make it worth it. Anyway, I took his money. Whatever. I rationalized it all fucking day. I stole from him. And, there was the element of peer pressure, though, and the fact that I did need to, it's Christmas, I need the money. So, but I was deeply grateful that he chose that moment to pass away, because I really did need the money. And then I waited for the first responders. They came, and I opened the door for them, and they threw down their paddles and whatnot, and they said, God, ooh, he's dead. And I said, right? You tell that fucking cunt dispatcher that Dr. Levine, I had this asshole diagnosed properly. I did. Well, the next morning, oh no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Then of course, the police were there. Then the coroner came by. You should have seen the look on Senor Nothing's face when they loaded Andrew on the gurney and rolled him out. Senor Nothing was like, oh, why you not tell me? Because I love this. Because I wanted to see this all day. Oh my God. He was the best. Well, then the coroner says to me, he says, do you remember when you last saw him alive? And I knew exactly when and what I'd sold him. And he said, why did he get the amyl nitrate or that rush? What is that for? And I was like, God damn, I got to educate the doctor? Fuck. So I had to explain to the coroner that gay guys on the make, the cruisers, like to huff it, and then it kind of relaxes and makes them feel all jelly and, good. It's a drug. And he said, oh, geez. He said, then he might have been on Viagra, and then huffing that would have made his blood pressure get wonky, and he probably stroked out. Just for FYI, assholes, don't. If you're taking Viagra and you think you're fancy, don't be that fancy. You have a stroke. And then I said to the coroner, the coroner said, well, it's okay. We contacted his wife. She'll be by to pick up his car pretty soon. I said, holy shit. He's got a wife? And he said, yeah, and a daughter. Like 20 years old or something like that. I was like, oh my God. Now I know I did just steal money from this man. I get it. But there is that part of me that's still human. And I begged the coroner. I said, can we just move the car across the street to Baxter's Auto Parts or something? Can we just, maybe to Fred Meyer, so that his wife doesn't have to fucking come to the porn store to pick up her dead husband's car? Can we just give her that? And he said, not knowing that I had robbed him, the coroner said, you're such a nice lady, Kristine. I'm a saint. Yep. He said, you're so kind to think of that, but the truth is that moving the car would be a liability. We'd have to have it towed across the street, and all we'd really be doing is incurring the family a larger expense in addition to the funeral expenses. Now they have this shit to deal with. So you might as well just leave it here and let her just deal with it. I said, okay. So knowing that she's coming was terrifying to me. I wanted to see her, but I didn't want to see her. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know, maybe I would have just told her everything or just, I don't know, hugged her. I don't know. She doesn't want that from me. But I felt connected to her in a way. And when she finally arrived, her eyes were puffy. She was devastated and fucking humiliated. She came in with a young woman, I think their daughter, who stood like kind of by the door, but just far enough close to mom, you know, to catch her if she passed out, you know. She was very shaky, and she got the keys from my coworker. And she just said, I have to get some keys. And my coworker Josh just handed her the keys, and that was it. She walked away. They went outside, got the car, that was gone. And then a few days later, I saw the death notice and stuff in the paper. I always used to cruise the paper for death notices just to close accounts of people that were dead. It's a hobby. I like to read the obits because of that. And when I found Andrews, I found out where he worked, found out about his life, how fascinating, what a great man he was. You know, they always say how nice people are. But he seemed like he was a really good dude. He was loved by a lot of people. And, in fact, he had a really great job, and I was like, $35? Okay. You had a good job, babe. And I found out when his funeral was. And again, that the comedian part of me, the porn clerk part of me, was like, whew, that funeral's got to be weird. You know, what are people going up to his wife going, don't worry, he died doing what he loved? Ugh. Awkward. That's the worst funeral ever. But then the human part of me really, this is crazy. I know, maybe to you guys, but I wanted to go to that funeral. I wanted to tell his wife what your husband was doing was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. He's okay. And he didn't do anything wrong. You don't have to be embarrassed. And you can laugh about it if you want to. And you know what? I did protect him. Like, I made sure that door was locked. And I made sure that nobody saw him naked except for the medical people that were supposed to see him naked. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm the only one that saw him in that condition. And I took care of it. And I handled it. And I made sure that door was locked and that nobody was going to bother him. And I just wanted to connect with her and tell her that everything's okay. And he probably died super fast because the coroner said it was a stroke. And he was like in motion. You know what I mean? There was no signs of distress on him at all. He seemed so peaceful and he was fine. And I thought, maybe I should tell her that. And then the smart part of me said, fuck no. Do not do that. That's such a butthole move. Like, that makes it all about me. So I didn't go. The point is, I guess what I'm trying to say is that Andrew was gay. And he died at a porn store. Watching a gay porn, I know because I checked the movies just to make sure about my theory. You know, I could go in the back and check what was on. He was watching a gay movie, and he was gay. And he couldn't tell his wife. He could never communicate that truth to her. He married a woman because he had to, and he couldn't be free. And he ended up dying at a porn store. So if you're hiding anything from anybody, fucking just tell people. It's okay. and I promise you won't get robbed. Be free. Thank you and good night.